Hello everybody, this is my Iron Man review. I don't usually review movies, so bear with me. I haven't written down any notes, so I'm just going to be doing this off the top of my head. First thing I'll say about this movie was I wasn't too enthusiastic about seeing it as I was with Batman Begins or some of the Spider-Man movies, even Transformers. I don't really understand why I wasn't. Maybe it's just the mood I'm in. But having said that, when I did go and see it, it is my favourite and probably what I feel is the best superhero movie there is. One of the reasons why this works, I felt this was so good was, while it was still loyal to the source material, which would be the comics, it built on that and it also updated it and made it more relevant for today's society. Some superhero movies haven't done that. While they've remained loyal to the source material, they haven't built on that. And while some of them have, changed things around, it's not loyal to the source material. This sort of found a middle ground, and it worked really well. At least I feel it did. And another thing I'll mention is when you see the trailer is a little bit misleading, or I felt it was, because when I saw the trailer, I pretty much thought the same thing I did when I saw trailers for past superhero movies, where it's just another superhero movie, so you're going to see the stereotypical things you see from those same ones, but it is different. There are some things you'll pick up on when you see that really differentiate it from other superhero movies, and there's not as many superhero or comic book cliches in this. What I'll say, I don't want to talk too much about the plot because I know I'll give away some spoilers, but I will say that it does start in the Middle East, and when Iron Man gets captured, he's by some terrorists. You think, it's going to be a bit preachy about whatever. It's not actually Iron Man, it's Stark. You think, this is going to be a bit preachy with about the war in the Middle East, but it didn't. It wasn't. It was just a setting that they needed to further the story. I feel, and there were one. Sorry, I'm lost my train of thought. I'll say the production of the movie was very good. It was very slick. The special effects were really good. What I was going to say about the plot was it moved along very. I think at the start, the biggest problem I had with it was a bit slow to start. That was the only immediate flaw I could find with the movie, despite some inconsistencies in the science of the movie, but I usually don't count that when watching a movie, so I'm not going to count for that. That was the only flaw I found. It was a bit slow to start, but it was still, once I got into it, it moved along well. It didn't feel rushed in any parts, and it didn't feel drawn out. It just moved along, and it worked well. Robert Downey Jr. was very good in this. As everyone was, there wasn't really any weak performances in the movie. Sorry, I keep losing my train of thought because I don't have any notes to read off of. In terms of actual production, I'll go back to that. There's a lot of obvious influences from the RoboCop films. If you haven't seen them, I recommend you do see them. Before or after you see this, because there are some scenes which are very, which resemble from RoboCop, which resemble things you'll see in Iron Man from the first and second movie. There's one scene where Stark comes out of a cave, and he's getting shot the shit out of by a bunch of the bad guys, and he's got the first Iron Man suit on, so obviously there's two now. See, that's what happens when I talk about the plot. they're shooting the shit out of him, and the way he's getting shot at, and he's sort of walking along. It's very reminiscent of the first RoboCop film where RoboCop would get shot, and it was shot a very similar way, where you'd have a front-on view of him and all the sparks flying off of him from bullets ricocheting, and then it would go on a side-on view, and we'd see everyone shooting. But it was, it would pretty much be the same fucking exact same scene if it wasn't for it being outside or an outdoor setting as opposed to RoboCop's indoor setting when that happened. But it was pretty much the same thing. And there were also some scenes at the end of the movie with the final confrontation between the good guy and the bad guy, where there was direct things which were completely ripped off from RoboCop 2. Now, the best thing about RoboCop 2 wasn't a very good movie. RoboCop 3 was absolutely terrible, so don't bother seeing it. I do recommend you see 1 and 2 though, if you did like Iron Man, or you're interested in seeing it, and you want to see those first, because I said there are some influences. There's a giant robot scene where RoboCop 1 fights against RoboCop 2, and there are some scenes which are pretty much identical from that in Iron Man. So, and the RoboCop films, or the first 2, are probably my favourite 2 films of all time. To a lesser extent, the second one, the best part about that was the fight scene at the end. And of course, this is very similar to that, but it's just a lot, because with modern production values and things like that, it looked a lot better. But as I said, the plot is good, the special effects are good, the acting's good. It's just a really, really good movie and really enjoyable. And I think I may have said this. Sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I just don't have any notes. That as soon as I was done watching this, I just felt like watching it again. And movies don't ever do that with me, or very rarely do they make me want to see it again straight away. And that's why it's my favourite superhero movie. And and as I said before, there was no really big flaws, except for the bit at the start where it was a bit slow moving. But there was nothing really wrong with it. There wasn't any bit of the movie where I got angry, and I get angry during movies a lot. Not because of the actual plot, but something that's said, or something that's done, or a certain scene. I just get really fucking furious about something, and I do get angry very easily. But even with the best movies, there's always something that pisses me off. But this movie, I enjoyed it a lot. It was just, as I said, there was no really big flaws except for a bit at the start, and that was not really even a big flaw. It was just a little bit, and some of the inconsistencies in the science of the actual film. But other than that, it's still an incredible superhero movie, and if you do like them, or even if you don't, I recommend you go see it, because it is very fucking good. Anyway, I'm out of time. Well, not really, but I gotta go. I'll talk to you later.